Hi everyone, it's Mary Alice here with Change Your Aim, Change Your Life, and this is video 4 of the series about changing our thoughts and our feelings. But before I go on to the word action, because we talked about awareness, acknowledging, allow, and the next thing I want to talk about is action. But before I get into that, I just want to share something with you because I think just some feedback I get is people wonder about, well, what about these bad feelings we have, or negative feelings, or the sadness, or the memories that are sad, or the anxiety and all that. And, I really believe that there's a purpose for them. They can get excessive like anything else in life. I mean, if we eat too much, we gain weight, especially if we eat the wrong foods. So if we think and feel too much negatively, then we don't live a productive life. We live with these very unsettling feelings that keep us stuck in life. So, but you know what? There is a purpose to them in that they are a contrast. And I say that because if we didn't work through these feelings, if we didn't have difficult times in our lives, it would be very hard to define what was really wonderful and joyful and happiness. And let me explain. When I was out the other day walking, and the sun was just shining brightly, I was walking through the woods, and there's a canopy of trees. So there's a great effect of shadow and light, shadow and light, shadow and light. And it gives dimension and texture to what I see and what we see when we walk in the woods like that. Or even down a street with trees, or buildings where there's the contrast of the shadow and the light, shadow and the light. But when it becomes, but when it's through the trees, I'm going to get back to my analogy here, I noticed, I went, you know what? I've walked this path on a very cloudy day. And even though it can be pretty, it feels one-dimensional. It's just all kind of gray, and everything kind of blends together, and the green all blends together with the trees and the leaves. And I've also walked on pathways that are just sun. I mean, there's no shade, there are no trees, and it's just bright sunshine. And it's lovely and feels warm, but it can also, on a hot day, feel really overwhelming and really hot and bright, and kind of like zap your energy when it's so bright and you're in the sun and you don't have enough water with you or whatever. There's no contrast. It's just constantly bright, which at times is absolutely wonderful. But when it's over like all day long, think of it about being in a desert kind of situation. So there's no contrast of having a shadow, of having a dimension of beauty to look at in the landscape. So there is a purpose for the contrast of our feelings, and I'm not talking about pure darkness. I'm not talking about what some people might interpret as pure evil or even pure depression where it's just solidly dark in your emotions. I'm just talking about the contrast that we can feel in our life of the good and the difficult and the sadness or grieving times if we lose somebody in our life that we love. And we work through those feelings. And we have joy in our life, and we have happiness in our life, and we have successes and accomplishments in our lives that are, just joyful. But when we put it all together, it creates such beauty. Think of a painting of a landscape with the shadows and the nature and the trees and the flowers, and you have the sun billowing through, creating some shade and bursts of light. Isn't it beautiful? Isn't it gorgeous that way? So I want to say, so are we. We are gorgeous that way too. We have contrast in us. Now, what we're trying to bring about is to have more light in our life, more joy, more happiness, more sunshine, so to speak, that filters through who we are as people. and who we are as people, as excellent as we can try and continue to be, there are those little bit of imperfections or quirkinesses that, we talk about, but it infiltrates. The sun goes through and just casts a pretty shadow, doesn't it? So let's look at our lives this way and not be down on ourselves for having these difficult feelings and these moments of situational depression or bad memories or feeling anxious all the time or fearful or just being angry all the time. I have a feeling that interspersed with that are times of good times for you and of happiness. So let's try and flip it where there's more light than shadow. And think of yourself as a beautiful landscape, a beautiful painting, because you are. So I'm going to leave it at that, and then we will talk about actions to take. What can you do to really help get past when these feelings of overwhelm come over you, or fear, or anxiety, or of anger. So we'll do that next time. But I just wanted to lay the foundation about what beauty there is in the contrast of who we are. We don't want to stay all dark. I'm not talking about that. And we don't want to be all too light and bright, because that's not quite, I mean, it's wonderful to be that way, but when we're that way and we've worked through our issues, the contrast and beauty is still there. I hope that makes sense. I'm not talking about it being a Pollyanna and, everything's wonderful and happy, blah, 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 blah. I've been around those people, and it's too artificial. It's too like artificial sweetener. It's like, ugh, if you know what I mean. I'm not talking about being in denial. We need to feel what we need to feel, and it's okay. It's just getting out of it and not staying in it. Okay, beautiful people. Love you. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.